Welcome to the third part of the series, where I will describe how I painted this painting, Portrait of Princess Drahomíra. Today we will see how I painted the center part of the outfit, a veil or scarf on the head, and this metal box. I prefer the procedure discovered by the Dutch masters. That is, first I paint the background, the surroundings, as well as clothes and finally skin. When painting, you need to think about how the individual surfaces will dry, so that I can always follow up with a dry painting. That's why I chose this middle part first, which is quite complicated because it's treated with this ornament. The acrylic underpainting is isolated everywhere with dammer varnish. In the oil painting I first used this beige mixture of ochres and other colors. I would painted shadows into it. However, I still checked to make sure it was a painting semi-translucent. This is so that I don't lose the ornamental structure that I previously prepared in acrylic. Next I continued with a smaller brush, still in the fresh painting. However, the goal is not exact rendering of the ornament, but the correct capture of light and shadows on the fabric. After that I continued by laying the lights, already using mixtures that contained titanium white. It's titanium dioxide. Although I prefer to paint alla prima, I returned to this part after it had dried to use the glaze emphasized plasticity. Along with the upper part of the ornaments on the textile, I also painted this metal box. When painting silver or gold objects, there is absolutely no need to use silver or gold paint or gold color. On the contrary, the metallic impression will create the correct color contrast, not color containing metal particles. With a coarse bristle brush, I applied a plastic base of various colors: black, several blues, ochres, and other colors, including skin tones. However, I used a similar process to any other painting: mid-tones and dark first. An old brush is often better to promote texture and patina. I used a sharp brush for the details, but before that, working with pointed brush can often be unnecessarily too detailed and therefore less realistic. But even a sharp brush can be used in many different ways. It often depends on its tilt. Then it can also be used for blurring. And here's a shot using white for the finish. That is the face when it is easiest to spoil the painting. And here I used an old brush for the final treatment on the surface, but it is still a painting in a single oil color layer on acrylic basis. While the clothes paint was drying, the next day I painted part of the veil over her head. As I said in the first part, the purpose of the scarf was to protect the hair from dirt. With a coarse bristle brush, I applied a plastic base of various colors: black, several blues, ochres, and other colors including skin tones. Otherwise the fabric would look too monotonous. Here I used white in some places from the beginning. Whiteness is a risk in place where we want a deep shade, but that is not the case here. Here you see shots of the palette. There you can see a lot of small spots to achieve color variability. It is not that there are a lot of intense bright colors, but a lot of muted shades. The final strokes can be middle tones or greatest depths, but usually they are the greatest lights. If the white paint were to be applied too soon in larger layers, it would easily get to places where we don't want it. In the next part we will see how I painted the blue part of the outfit. Below the video you will find links to my website, Facebook, Instagram. Thank you for the likes and subscribes. Have a nice day and see you in next videos.